Button. Yeah, and if everything went well, we should be live now. And I'm super, super excited for this episode of Everything Outside Code. On these episodes, I typically talk to a fantastic guest about the really hard part of shipping a product, right? Which is go to market. So we go from anywhere around building efficient products, what that meant to getting to the market users. And today I have Lonnie McRorey with me. And Lonnie is the CEO and co-founder of TeamStation AI. I'm just going to stop talking. But if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I expect this to be like really packed conversation around artificial intelligence and its implications for not just products, but good market in general. So over to the man of the moment, Bernie. Thanks for coming on. How you
Hey, thank you for having me, William. I'm super excited, to be a part of this and to share a little bit of my mindless banter, what's going on in the industry. We've been in the trenches for a long time, and we've seen things progress over the years. And a lot of people
doing?
are scared. A lot of people are just, it's a volatile market, but I don't think it's so much that way. So that's what
Yeah,
kind of brought the attention to your podcast, to your live stream, is the fact let's take it easy, but let's get down to truths here.
yeah,
So that's what I want to talk about.
yeah. Thank you very much. I love the idea of truth. Before we get to truth, maybe we start with the facts. Could you tell us a bit about yourself, what you do, and Team Station?
Okay. So yeah, I'm the CEO and co-founder. I pretend to be a CEO, but I'm more so. I've been in the industry for almost 30 years. Started with electronic data systems from the heydays right before the internet, and I've seen the entire internet just progress over the last everything from. I was there in the trenches when LinkedIn came out. I helped advise along with some founders that created the first job boards in the industry in the entire world. And so I got a lot of sense of what was coming into play with the internet. And so over the years, I worked as a product manager, bringing products to market. I work within the recruiting and human resources technology sector, also in the DevOps side, on the IT side, and building products and so forth. And I got to travel around the world. I got to work with amazing people from different parts of the world. And I got to see a tremendous amount of, let's just say, inefficiencies and a lot of, let's just say, dark areas of the technology industry, especially building products. So now I'm building a platform for the last 8 years, actually 4 years on the deep learning side, NLP. We're doing deep learning to understand how we align human capacity to business ideas, get rid of the resume, get rid of job description. Let's rethink the whole thing. And that's been super exciting because we're going into a deeper realm of the science of what makes us human. And so that's what I've been working on. We brought our product out over a year ago. We passed with $2 million in annual recurring revenue. And we're self-funded. We are self-funded. We used our services. We converted our services into a technology platform. And so we are completely, let's just say, we're taking the industry into to the next generation of services now. So, anyways, that's what I'm currently working on. I have an incredible team. I'm based out of Mexico. I'm in Guadalajara. I'm at the epicenter in Silicon Valley in Mexico. But we are in the United States. We're in Boston, California, Mexico. We're in Colombia. We're in Peru, Ecuador, Brazil, Argentina, and different areas. So that's what we're currently working on right now.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, you touched on so many different parts. But I'm really curious around first. I think it seems like you had a service, then decided to convert it into a product, and
Yeah.
then build deep learning algorithms and deep learning systems. I would
Yeah.
say solutions on them. How did that experience go? Like, what prompted you to decide to go
Uh,
into like deep learning and doing that?
everything was just totally by accident. Let me tell you why. So I was a
Okay.
product advisor at Google, a Google hire, and they had an incredible, recruiting product. And I was working with companies in the United States to build technology teams, both in U.S. and Latin America. And incredible product. They had their own, kind of their deep learning. They understood what the resume said. Very advanced, incredible product. And they canceled the product. I was advising them. I want to bring my clients in to help me build teams too. and they love the
Hmm.
idea. And then they said, well, no, the leader of this project, she's going to lead GCP. We're shutting everything down. However, Lonnie, I think you need to do this since you have the right skill set and the experience that nobody else has, just by
Yeah.
happenstance, right? And so I was forced to build something. And I said, well, I'm going to look for other products that can help me because I don't have time to build from scratch a lot of things. And so I was forced because if not, I was going to die. I just didn't have. I said, well, I need to have my clients be a part of my process because I want to be highly accurate. And so I had to build module by module in real time. It's like I'm building an aircraft as I'm taking off. As
Yeah.
I'm flying, all right, let me get the wings on, and let me get some engines here, and it's like it's crazy. So you're slapping everything together. Hopefully, something sticks, and then you learn about technical debt, and you learn about why do we need to go to microservices and all this
Hmm.
stuff. And it's like, and it's just saying, I'm not the most incredibly technical person, but now I had to take a deep dive in understanding how things are connected. And so the incredible story here, just to make this really quick here, is that I was forced to build a platform in order for me to provide a greater service to the clients because no other products out there brought the entire process in our industry, the entire
Hmm.
process under one system. You got to buy different tools, your data's everywhere and siloed. And I'm like, this is not very efficient because I want to improve the entire. I'm going to have to build this. So I had to build an
Yeah.
ATS. I had to build a CRM. I had to build an entire document management system. How we interview the engineers. I had to put the video in there. And I said, I want to be able to pre-select and pre-screen and everything with all the data that's coming in. I had to build a job board and all these things just started generating. We created a UFO
Yeah.
and but we focus on key features, but the features that make money. You want to build the entire thing, but you're not going to get that. Not with your
Yeah.
budget. Not with the investors. Not going. Yeah, here's a couple of dollars, and like, can you afford a shawarma with that? So, so so that's why for us we were very fortunate because we took a service and we decided the entire service industry is inaccurate and inefficient. So we created
Hmm.
a platform with a highly efficient process for us to move faster and for us to have certainty, continuity, and predictability. And so I said, well,
Yeah.
now that we have all this structured data, what can we learn from it? I said, I want to learn from our interviews. Are we getting the right resumes? Are we getting the right people? And we found out through the research that the resumes are lies, about 60%. In the United
Hmm.
States, over 100 million people lie on their resumes, for example. The first resume in history was Leonardo da Vinci, 1482, a piece of paper telling the king that he's this incredible engineer. He was an artist. He was the best artist ever.
Yeah.
But he told the king that he did all these incredible projects. He had 20 projects under his belt, something like that, and he did three. He got the job because he was Leonardo
Yeah.
da Vinci. But still, nothing has changed from then till now. We're still using a piece of paper on people's own bias on a piece of paper. Then you have a company
Yeah.
putting their own biases in a job description. And then we're thinking, why is the process so slow? I'm ranting because I'm calling BS on an entire HR industry that they're basing data and how to align talent on a very arcane way. We are in the agentic era. What
Yeah.
does that mean? We're transforming into the next quantum leap, and companies are not ready. If the
What is
HR
that
world is not
future?
ready, what's that?
Yeah. I was going to say, what does that future look like? The future, especially with like HR and thinking about like agentic systems now, looking at your experience with inefficiencies over the last, you know,
Mm-hmm.
couple.
Well, I think a lot of the manual and I'm going to say the those tasks that are related to anything that is administrative, that's gone. Recruiters are
Yeah.
gone, sources are gone. I'm not saying that the jobs are gone. It's just you need to move those individuals to higher efficient priorities. And so we're going to see a reprioritization. New roles are coming out. Like not right now, I'm hiring AI integration engineers. 2 years ago, you
Hmm.
didn't hear about that.
Yeah.
So roles are shifting. People are scared. And I think, yeah, okay, what is in it for me? Well, if you're scared, you better learn. You better learn, get
Yeah.
out there and start doing that cross training, start using your skills. But the most incredible skill that a human can have is critical thinking. That's the best skill that any human can have because any situation that you're put in, you can solve it.
Yeah. True.
So, anyways, I think the future here, actually not the future, right now, we're going to see a shift on roles. A lot of the administrative stuff is out.
Hmm.
It's going to take a while. A lot of companies are not ready for AI, and now they're not ready for the agentic enterprise, and they're going to be
Yeah.
about 3 to 4 years out. It's going to be a slow ship, volatile. We're realizing that we need to focus on algorithms rather than brute force computing. That's what we
Yeah.
did, by the way.
I
So
was gonna
this here's
ask
what,
about that.
yeah.
I was gonna ask about that. That you started deep learning before it became, mainstream cool today, right? And at that time, there were lots of limitations. How was that experience, and what has changed from then, to now, right? I
Well,
saw your post on LinkedIn with, you use like your own computer's hardware because you needed access to that. But then because of
oh,
the scarcity, you needed to also like make sure your algorithms were optimized and they could run on scarce resources. How was that experience like?
we found out that the ultimate goal, and I learned some interesting um, thoughts from a brilliant mind. His name is David Brummer. He actually he worked at DARPA National National Labs, and he has 20 patents on autonomous vehicles from a long time ago. So he's one of the forefathers. I became friends, and he said, "You need to stick to truths. You need to stick to your own data. You need to do it all inside. Put it inside of a box, and train it according to your what you see and your expertise. And don't So that's called heuristics. And so we heuristically train. It was very difficult. We had to get the right data, but you can use less data to get an accurate an answer, and then you go polish and everything like that. So we
Hmm.
found out that it takes a tremendous amount of computational power, and then I looked like a crackhead looking for GPUs, and that was like 4 years, 3 years ago. I was like, seriously, I look like a drug addict looking for GPUs. Hey, you got GPUs? Can I use some of your GPUs? And I was like, it's like, shh. It's like I need it, I need it, and so we took a step back and we said, if it's so expensive, how can 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 we run something on a laptop? Yeah, we can run this. What happens if we put two together? What happens if we put three or four? Daisy chain them together. What is the
Yeah.
computational power? And so we used old hardware, and we did it the poor man's way, right? The poor it just. But we had to be. I think that the greatest lesson that we're learning from DeepSeek is
Hmm.
that you don't have anything, you can still
Yeah.
make it work. That's why
Yeah.
critical thinking.
Resource.
Right.
Yeah.
So the entire market is it knows a huge backlash, and it's hilarious. I'm going, yeah, we know what that's like. We've been there. We're poor. We built our own stuff. It's not pretty, but
Mhm.
it works, baby. You know,
Yeah.
we're proud. But
Yeah.
because again, we come from we're the underdog, but we
Hmm.
fight. We have an incredible mission. That's the thing for startups. If your vision is clear and you feel it in your gut, you wake up every morning and I was like,
Hmm.
I'm gonna start taking people's lunches. That kind of attitude, you gotta think, be cautious. Don't buy into the first thing that you see. Everybody's diving into DeepSeek. Okay, great. Open model's great, but still
Hmm.
be very cautious. Proprietary data, you want to keep that
Yeah.
inside. You still use it. And I still say that it's best to invest in human ingenuity than a model because a
Yeah.
human brain is very difficult to replicate until we get to the quantum computing area.
Yeah. I totally agree. You talked about agents, right?
Mm-hmm.
In your opinion, and I think so far, there's so many, I've seen so many definitions of like what an agent is. Because everyone is trying to predict the future of what this agentic AI system would look like. So in your opinion, what is an AI agent?
It's vaporware. It's strict
Okay.
vaporware. It's basically you're allowing it to have control on a surface, and it can take control. It's just a very intelligent algorithm that it understands how your system is put together and so forth. So it's able to control. And it still looks like a little 5-year-old moving your mouse around. It's like, seen it. But they're going to perfect it, just like the videos and the AI videos with Will
Yeah,
Smith eating spaghetti. He looked like he was a monster, right? So we're going to see that. Agents are going to be a systematic problem with security. Also in the labor side, you can run an agent and think, oh, that person's behind their desk. So I think companies are going to start pushing for workers to come back to the office, since the agents can do the same thing that they're doing, or they're going to be replaced, right? So,
yeah,
what's an agent? Just to answer your question, right now, it's just a novel way for something that's automated that can control certain automations within your laptop. They can click on something. I mean, you got some tools out there that provide that kind of automation already, like Duck Soup. So Duck Soup, what it does, it just covers right on top of LinkedIn, and it does the thing work for you. It will send a message, but LinkedIn doesn't know, because LinkedIn is, like, of course, became
yeah.
big, big company, right? And so
Hmm.
they don't want anybody scraping their index. They don't want anything like that. So they're controlling. So Duck Soup was very smart. They have a they don't break the rules. They don't get
A browser
detected, but
agent, basically.
it's kind of like that, right? It's a little bot.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
is it now an agent for me would have to have some sort of level of self governance or a self aware, like saying, okay, I got to stay within these rules. You can
hmm,
program those rules, but who can really use those tools? You got to be really in deep into that upper echelon of companies. They're going to start using it first. As it trickles down to the mid tier companies, it's going to get more expensive. So the mid tier companies, the big companies, are going to get bigger. They're going to dominate more. They're going to consolidate, dominate more. Mid size is going to be all break into little pieces, and you're just going to be little bits and pieces of companies just very focused on certain little things, but it's going to get harder and harder and harder. That's why SaaS is over, recruiting
yeah,
is over, as you know it, and we're going through this transition.
yeah. It's interesting, your take on agents, because it feels like the difference between an agent and what we used to know as a bot, right? A traditional bot is some reasoning.
It's, it's
Some
yeah,
reasoning that isn't just a chain of conditions. Because in the past, if you had enough conditions chained, you could make something today that would pass off as an agent, right? If it's a
yeah.
transaction, send it to Stripe. If it's a message, call an email service. If it is a notification, call this service. But I guess now you just replace that condition loop with something that can reason independently for itself and can take actions or render information. Which brings me to the point you just mentioned, that SaaS as we know it is dead. I sort of have, I'd say, I have this future I envision where we don't have we don't have a browser, we don't have like app interfaces, because if all we need is something to give us information and something to take actions on behalf of us, right? Like, do this,
We're
or
still going to have a
I want to
visual
do
output.
marketing. Yeah,
We're still
some
going to
visual
need a
output,
visual output. We're very
but
visual
do,
creatures and auditive creatures, and we're highly um, we're motivated by your primal instincts, and so the visual stuff is how we learn as well. So I don't think the visuals are going to be eradicated from the entire um,
yeah.
process. I think how
Should
we
it?
see it is going to be different. How
Mhm.
we interact is going to be different. Then we have
Yeah.
robotics coming in, and I don't want to stare at a toaster and have a conversation with a freaking toaster. You know,
Yet.
how was your morning? Oh, hey, make me toast. What's my job? Like a Rick and Morty? What your job's to serve butter? Oh God, yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Some interface will definitely exist, but maybe not as complex as the browser that has, you know, everything. That's sort of like a supercharged interface, uh, at least in my opinion. But I feel the interface would be as minimal as possible, which is why I feel like, the rabbit. device that casts some like very cake looking um projection on your hand when you use it on your palm. I have a personal feeling that I could be wrong, but I feel like it came way too early. They should have
They
waited
were,
like another 5 years when we're done with when we have agents that are actually efficient and you just want to see a result or
yeah.
you want to visualize something, but you don't really want to interact with it. Like why would I use, I mean, I want to see photos, right? But with LinkedIn, I think these days I prefer personal connections. If I could meet people in real life, um, that maybe I don't need to interact with like some tool. I want to do marketing. Do I really need HubSpot
No,
and
that's
everything
over.
it offers? If I could,
If you get
delegate
rid
all
of the
that to an agent.
visual, if you get rid of the visual, you got to structure all that data. And I think companies are going to become IT as they're going to become their own AI agent company.
Yeah.
Even from flower shop to where you fix your car, everything's going to be connected that way of understanding to a much larger and intelligent collective.
Yeah.
This is collective innovation through collaborative uh, the adaptation. So I I think here, what's a really great question is like, how is that going to impact all these different? I mean, we've been having SaaS for almost 20 years now. It's over.
Hmm.
And I'm saying that era is over. It's no longer that value. But I think what we're seeing here on the back end is that all these companies need to start thinking about preparing for that and structuring their data, who they are, what they're all about, the process and everything, and become their own AI company, their own intelligent organization. And I think that's where they connect with other ones and they can come together as a nucleus, right?
Yeah.
And I think you can own, and that's why I'm saying that SEO completely changed. Now it's all these SEO companies are going to, oh, I think Lonnie's wrong. I'm like, I'm telling you, it's now completely changed. It's like I said, it's about intent, search intent. They want to learn your behaviors. Meta scrambling, as Google's got now pivot. Everybody's pivoting right now, and all these SEO companies need to go to the next stage of understanding how these applications and very smart, intelligent applications from all these
Hmm.
different industries and different companies. And so even how we build a startup is changing. Um, Anybody can now whip up a nice looking and incredibly sounding pitch. So now the investors are saying, okay, we need to rethink the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I think what agents and
I,
SEO and all these things, or even SaaS applications, I think they're going to morph. They're going to evolve into these companies need to pivot.
mhm.
If they don't pivot, they're going to die.
Yeah.
It's oh, it's Web 3.0. Oh my God, here we go. Here we go. It's still the same
if
web, guys.
yeah, if you say from what you say, it sounds like the moat is going to be in data processes and like
Inside,
original, yeah,
yeah,
like original, like
the
inside
truths.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to
If
generate your own truth.
yeah.
If you
So
generate
if
truth based on your experience and you
mhm,
encapsulate, then you have something to provide to the entire ecosystem, and that becomes
yeah,
valuable. Therefore, the search intent comes to you. That's the SEO
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So I'm curious, does this mean, I mean, at the start of um the 2000s, it was like every company was going to eventually become a technology company so of some sort, either fully technology focused or technology powered. I see a future where every company becomes an AI company. I don't know what that
Well, I
future
think the
looks
term
like.
AI is going to go away. I think it's going to be part of our
Okay.
AI is going to go away. It's such a BS term, by the way. It's not
Yeah.
sentient. It's not sentient. Okay. So,
Hmm.
but we say I'm going to say a very we're going to say okay, marketing is always looking for the next buzzword, right? So here's the thing: 25% is accurate, 75% is vaporware, right? So they got some ideas, they want to get out there, they want to sell their products or ideas, and and their marketing material, whatever. So um, I think AI is just going to be a part of our natural lexicon, just like the word. Do we say, "Well, we are a web company"? Nobody
Yeah.
says that anymore, you know. And so web, okay, what does that mean now? It's everywhere. So the lexicon will change. AI is going to be a natural. It's going to be, this is how we operate. This is our intelligence. And that's what I'm saying. We need to get down to truths. If you control your data, you safeguard your data. Your everything that you know, your cognitive perception, your critical thinking skills that you put into a system, that's more valuable. It just
Yeah.
shows how you solve problems, and it shows other companies that you can solve those problems. Therefore, they should work with you.
Hmm.
So
So,
it's getting back to the human side again. We're saying AI is
mhm,
going to take over. No, AI is going to restructure and say
yeah,
that the brain is probably the number one thing that we're going to go after.
yeah. I'm curious on how different is this future for enterprise companies versus consumer companies working towards that? Because I feel like when we talk about data governance, I only ever hear that term when I talk to like enterprise folks. They talk about data governance. So whatever their version of it is, at least they think about having their data. But for consumers, like smaller startups, consumer products, yeah, they don't. Right. So
You
what
have
does
to.
that future, what does preparing for that future look like?
Well, I think the one of the strategies for any startup, I think you need to start thinking like if you're going to for scalability, you can start small, but you still need that being able to understand how you structure your data because your data is going to be valuable. Resume data is valuable, your personal profile data is valuable, and so forth, as
Yeah.
long as it's accurate. So we need to validate if that data is accurate. If we decide to use somebody else's data, then it's out of our control and we could fail, right? So we need to build. It's like your now companies are building just like an enterprise, right? You got to create
Yeah.
structure, and if you start with a structure like an architecture of anything, businesses need to start thinking like a large business, except very agile, that you can scale, move, pivot, and so forth, but be very secure. In and I'm going to keep driving this term that keeps coming up in my vocabulary, my lexicon, is the search for your own truths, meaning as a company, as an organization, as solving problems. What is the absolute truth on this? And there's some things that you can't, but at least have a structure where you know that when you are adding any kind of algorithm to understand what you did, that it's going to
Yeah.
be based on your truth, not somebody else's BS. And so that's why we need to focus, and that these companies, even startups, need to start having that truthful data architecture. That it's always you're going to put the right data in there. If you put
Yeah.
crap in, crap is going to go out. Very simple.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. We talk about AI in GTM. We touch on SEO, right? And I think before this call, I did mention that a number of our partners at Hackmamba are asking a question, which is how do we get found even more by AI powered search systems, by Google's Gemini recommendation, in Perplexity, in Chat GPT. What's the way forward? So far, my answer has always been just keep creating meaningful personal content, like share from the heart, and maybe we get picked up.
Truths.
But I don't. Yeah,
Can we
that's
say that? Can we say that the future of everything that we do is about how accurate is your data and truthful is your data? Because the more
mhm.
truthful it is, it'll resonate with more people. Because
Yeah,
if you're lying, they're going to figure it out, and your results going to go down. So if you do any kind of event, you have to do a multimodal, multimedia kind of put that truth, but put in different ways. People can find you.
okay.
And so I think that's how, and also the more truths you put out there, the more the science behind it, no matter what it is, and you support that, it shows you that you have authority in your domain. If you're always lying or putting more marketing than what you're putting out on your own science, the algorithm, especially for search, for AI search, they're going to say, okay, this is not a trustworthy data, or we want to go directly to the science, to what's really truthful here.
Yeah,
So um, I'm
that's
just
an
saying that with a grain
interesting
of
insight.
salt. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm seeing right now, because I myself, I have to say, well, how come I used to get 30,000 views on LinkedIn and all of a sudden I get 10? What just happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, they want you to pay. So the era of free is over.
Yeah.
You gotta
I
pay
can
to play
imagine,
now.
and when you said create the content, the same truth, maybe not even content, but say the same truth, but it should be multimodal. You just struck something in my head because so far I've just been seeing it as say the truth. Like just put it out there, put out the content there. It should be opinionated. It should be your truth, how you see a problem, how you see a solution. That's why Reddit is popular, for instance, because people go there for like honest opinions. But you want to also say it a lot of times and in a lot of ways so that it gets picked up by a number of systems. Because I feel like right now, we're in the early days, a lot of people are guessing. If someone comes up to me and tells me they're an expert at AI SEO, I laugh. I'll be like,
Oh my God,
this is just some grifter
Jesus!
just trying to sell me something,
Their LinkedIn
right?
titles like this long, you know. It's like run,
Yeah, it's like
run.
AI SEO. You can get me in, you can get me in Chat GPT for a particular question. I'll be like, yeah, this guy is just bullshitting, right?
Oh, I'm
But
an
I feel
expert on
like the
LinkedIn. I
best
say,
way,
dude, I know LinkedIn since it started. You want to be an expert on LinkedIn? Get the hell out of here! Oh my God, it's hilarious. Anyways, go ahead.
yeah. No, I was just saying. I think to your point that the best way would be, putting the content out there and putting it in different forms, from video, text,
Truthful.
whatever. Yeah, saying the truth everywhere.
Do you know what are semantic numericals and you have some semantic and numerical and so you got EAB and SPO and everything, how it's structured, how it's reading, and so there's certain things it's the like OpenAI and so forth is they're still tapping into like Bing and Google and so forth. You're still gonna get that
Hmm.
in that sense. It's not gonna go away like that right overnight. But you need to structure, make sure that your headers, your H1s, H2s, H3s, that you have a table of content, everything that's going to give it even more structure. The more structured your data comes out of your whatever that you do, whatever medium, if you always have a structure, you make it easy for it to understand. That's what you want to go for. So it's pushing
Hmm.
for us to be more data driven marketing. And you got to base it on truth. So the more
Hmm.
connections that you make with other, and by the way, don't always, you got to collaborate. You got to work with other companies in the same field, in the same area or relative field that are going to also say,
Hmm.
yeah, I believe what William is saying here, and then it forces you to go out and work together with other thought leaders, you know.
Yeah.
And becoming a
Yeah.
thought leader
That
doesn't
definitely
happen
makes
overnight,
sense.
by the way.
Yeah. You need to say a lot of truths or a lot of facts or truths, and then they have to be correct a number of times
You got to
as
fail a
well.
lot. You got to see a lot of lies. I mean, you got to be like a Clint Eastwood movie, the good and bad and the ugly, man. Got
Yeah,
to stick to
I
your
can
guns,
imagine. Yeah, I've seen this. I've seen this LLM's text system of trying to standardize how um, AI systems crawl or understand websites. Have you come across that? And what do you think of? I mean, it seems almost similar to how we had sitemap.xml files that just understand your website and robot.text. So there's LLMs that text now that's supposed to
Yeah, but
inform.
still, you could structure as much as you want, but if you could have that component to be able to read, but if your actual website, like these website builders are horrible, by the way. Um, the AI ones, they have nothing structured. You got to do your own schemas, and so that's what I'm saying. The future of everything that we do, like you're saying, we're going to move away from the web, like a traditional, interface. If we don't do this now and structure our data, who we are and what we do, and as we build our business, we're gonna get slowly pushed all the way to the bottom of the pile, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. If you start with truths, a very good architecture on your data, whether it be your service and application that's happening.
Hmm.
We're seeing digital twins coming out. So that that truth from your
Hmm.
own service or from your own application or application service or whatever, you need to push that into your web. The website is the last thing,
Yeah.
and you need to structure according to that. So
Yeah.
I think here in the
Um.
next few years, we're going to see a tremendous amount of volatility, turmoil. Everybody's rushing. Jobs going to be changing. So you're going to see company freezing. They don't know what to do. Everybody's clenching their butt cheeks right now. The market's like, oh my God, we just over invested. So they're going to be divesting. And what does that mean? It means that we're
Mhm.
moving too fast. We're moving too fast, and we're not really thinking things through.
Yeah.
So we decide, hey, I'm just here doing my thing. I'm going to keep my mission. I'm going to stay
Mhm.
truthful to my organization and to our
Yeah.
data, to what we're all about. And I'm going to connect with incredible people like William.
Yeah. That's definitely a good mission. Um. I'm curious on your thoughts on globalization, right? Because I feel like the average person out there doesn't give a shit. They probably don't even know what we're talking about when we talk about like DeepSeek, NVIDIA, this models. Like they don't even care. My girlfriend is an accountant. She doesn't know any of this. I get excited. She doesn't get it. What would it take to get artificial intelligence as we know it in a form that is usable to the ends of the earth? What would it take to get it to like in the deepest parts of India, the way we have like GSM? What would it take to get it to Oceania in Tahiti,
Uh,
some random remote place? What are your thoughts on that?
well, now we're talking about geopolitics, and I think there's a lot of there's a specific government that I'm not going to mention that's been on the news that has a very I'm going to say I don't know if it's nefarious, but they have an agenda. They want to
Hmm.
control the world's data and all the world's people's information, and so that's scary because they can control people that way. And
Yeah.
everybody putting all their data out there, not realizing that these companies are going, oh yeah, you wanna go and put your OnlyFans page out there. I know about you. I know you're a library, but you have OnlyFans. Oh yeah, yeah. Give me your money. So that's I'm saying. Look, just give you an example. And so globalization of AI is it's not going to be globalized. It's going to be regionalized. It's going to be regionalized by um, through allies and partners and so forth. We're going to see big capital, big banks, and so forth. They're going to start dominating that as well. I just don't see it. It's just like electricity, how we're rolling out technology, right? Who's going to get access? Who's going to benefit the most from allowing people from different parts of the world to access AI?
Yeah.
The power and energy companies. Well, think about it. You need power and energy. They're gonna say, I'll give you AI for free, but I'm gonna put my own nuclear power plant there. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Come
that
to think of
question,
it, I
globalization, it's an over. I think it's globalization is over. I think it's more back to regionalization. That it's context
yeah.
based. But
And as you say this, it has me thinking. Right now, I have the hypothesis that we're still in this like free lunch era, where we've had like billions of like funding from um, VCs and like large, financial institutions going into AI, and we're getting subsidized value, right? And we're getting this subsidized value because we're paying for it in form of data. And the data that we're paying for currently, yeah, it's enough to train these models, get them to a state where they're good. But at some point, these guys would need to they need to make money from it because it's not a charity, right? They need to make
hold on.
money.
So taxpayers are subsidizing AI development that taxpayers are going to buy.
Yeah. So
You just said it. That's it.
so
That's the entire market. And so you got a new technology,
because
they're going to subsidize it, and the taxpayers subsidize it. And guess what? These guys are idiots. We're going to sell it back to them. And it's like, oh my god, this is
because
but it's sad. It's the Matrix. I know this is not real
yeah,
steak, but I know my brain's telling me it's real steak, but I know it's not real steak. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I imagine what's the incentive of giving the latest models to folks in India and in Nigeria, for instance. Um, if the data isn't as valuable to the producer, and they're not going to be, you don't have data centers there, they're not paying for like
There's no
model
context.
development there. Why would you want to provide them with the same value? And purchasing power, it's not there as well, right? So
The
maybe
data is
like you
trained
say,
not even regionally, by the way. So you get somebody
yeah.
from Namibia. I want context. If I'm selling a product in Namibia and I want to sell it to my local market, and AI is trained on what the World Trade Organization, WHO, and so forth are saying about my country, you're not going to get very accurate AI results for you to sell your product in Namibia, for example, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like it's a very general AI. It's still not very country specific. It's all in English, by the way, and then it gets
Hmm.
translated. Majority because it was easier to develop everything. All the tools are in English and so forth. So
Yeah.
you can kind of see it. You can kind of see how beneath the surface when you, it's like, oh my god, it's
Yeah. It's
it's
an interesting
sad. It's
talk
really
because
sad.
this is this is efficiency. Like this is we're talking about agents and we're talking about like tools that would replace like whole labor force and people, singular people building billion-dollar companies. But you can just see that there's a future where this probably doesn't get to everyone on Earth, and only these like individual regions will have to figure out how to provide best in class models that they can use that's also personalized for them. Because I don't expect, for instance, OpenAI to give a shit about like we want to make the best models for South Africa
Technology is
for them
expensive.
to
Look,
use because it's expensive and they probably don't have anything
they
to gain
they
from
don't
that.
build technology to give the entire world an equal chance. They build technology for those who can afford it to dominate the rest. So think about it. I'm saying, okay, all
Yep.
right. So if you can't afford technology, you're always going to be stuck in the back of the bus and you're always going to be back there. But they don't want to build technology and give it away for free. There's going to have to be a tremendous an incentive. The return on investment on that is control.
Yeah.
If you create technology, you can control. And
Yeah.
so, but if you want to control, it's got to come with a lot of positive benefits. And I believe that we need to focus on, like I said, let's get down to truths here, right? Right now, it's a lot of hypotheticals here, but that's what I'm seeing that there's a repeating pattern on how we're building technology, who
Hmm.
accesses it, and who benefits from that technology. Like banking, oh my gosh, that's goes
Yeah.
all to the top, and then we pay all these fees. If you're bottom, mid, or whatever class. Also the classes, right? We're pushing culture. Culture is creating classes because who has access to technology? Look at
Yeah.
India, for example. They're very classes. United
Yeah.
States, everybody, every single part of the world. Oh yeah, you drive that piece
Has
of
some
crap
class
car.
system. Either it's evident or it's not. Yeah.
Class is
You.
tied to technology, by the way, and who accesses technology. So, like you said, the ones with the greatest power, the greatest access to that technology are the first ones. They're going to start, positioning. But
Yeah.
anyways, that's another whole
Yeah.
day. That's a
Right.
college course right there, by the way.
This is well. I have a lot to think about. I see we've gone past time. I see we've
Don't
gone
worry
past
about it.
time, Lenny. But yeah, do you have any last words? Anything you want to add? I mean, I have so many questions, but I'll say this. This
Uh,
has been like so much fun.
be truthful. Don't believe the hype. If you have a vision, stick to your vision, make it work, pivot, validate your vision, focus on the science, focus on your integrity. Integrity will get you further than pretending to
Yeah.
be something that you're not. And surround yourself people that also like to challenge the status quo. Yeah, that's why I have a spacesuit in the office. I love to challenge. I like to do things that are hard.
Yeah.
We have to challenge ourselves.
Hmm.
but not
Yeah.
at this. Did you say at humanity's expense?
Yeah.
All
There has to
right.
be some morality there.
So I gotta get going because my team's about to yell at me.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. This has been really fun. And for anyone else listening, that's today's episode on Everything Outside Code, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.